Hi everyone. So I made this promise that I would do a declutter of all my eyeshadow palettes sometime after I did my collection. A lot of people asked me to do a declutter, and I know I've had to do one for a very long time. So I'm going to attempt it today. I don't know how it's gonna go. I am not making any promises. I don't know what I'm doing with the ones I'm going to get rid of. Some I might sell. You can place your votes down in the comment box. And you can already hear that I'm like stressed out about this in my voice. It's kind of funny. But we're gonna go through what's on the top here. There is stuff that I know I'm not getting rid of. Like I'm not getting rid of anything from back here, so I don't even think I'm gonna go through this. This is all my Vice palettes and all my MAC singles. So that is pretty much safe, that whole thing. So I'm also not getting rid of anything in my giant Z palette. It's not a Z palette, it's a Feather River Body palette from Sydney Grace. These are my Makeup Geek shadows and my Sydney Grace shadows, so these are staying. This is a Makeup Geek Z palette, and this has got a bunch of MAC singles in it, just stuff that I know that I reached for, so I separated them. That's staying. I feel like anxious. I don't have anxiety, but I feel anxious right now. This is the Morphe 35B. I know I'm going to get rid of some of these because I just don't reach for them. This is the color, like partial color, partial shimmer. This is a maybe. I just can't remember what other ones I have. This is the 35S. So there's two color palettes I have that are shimmer and matte, and I think those are the two I'll keep, which is these two. And I think this one I will probably get rid of. Yeah, this is all matte shades, and I swatched this recently and I don't see myself using it anymore. Same with this. It is pretty much all matte shades. Apparently it has a hair in it. I swatched this recently as well and was not that impressed by the pigment, so I will be passing this one off as well. I feel like if I even try and get rid of my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, I will be ousted from YouTube forever, so we will be keeping this as well. Honestly, it is a good palette, so I'm not complaining. So this is more drugstore palette, so I'm going to start to grab for things I know that I don't grab for. So this is the It Naturally Pretty palette. Although nice, I think I'm going to pass it along and never ever reach for it. The La Palette 1 and 2 from L'Oreal, same thing. They're okay, but I never reach for them. I have these shades in a million other palettes, so those are going to go as well. I received both of these from subscription boxes. These are Pure Cosmetics Buff Collections. This is dupe for Naked 3. Sorry, it's like hard to see here. This is dupe for Naked 3. I actually prefer this one over the Naked 3, so I'm going to keep that and probably declutter the Naked 3. And then this one is a dupe for Naked 2, and I really like my Naked 2. I use it all the time, so I'm going to let this one go, and I will keep my Naked 2. My Naked 3 is not very good. This is the NYX Perfect Filter in, I can't remember which shade. Oh, All of You. I got this for Christmas for my husband, so I'll be keeping this. I can't even get it open. I'm having challenges this morning. This Avant Pop I actually got and not realized that there was two of the same shade in it. So I'm not going to be keeping this. I never reach for it because the main shade that I needed isn't even in here. My Rimmel Magnifies palette in Color Edition. I'm going to be keeping this. I just got this at the beginning of January and I do reach for it sometimes. This is an old Stila palette that a friend gave me in her declutter to see if I would use it. I have not, so I am going to also declutter it. I have 3 sleek palettes in here. I have Acid, which I used to really like and think it was like the coolest thing in the world, but I don't reach for it. The pigmentation's not there anymore, so that's gonna go. I also have an I Divine palette, the matte brights, and let's be real here, I don't like matte brights that much. This is the Aqua Lagoon one. I'm also going to declutter this. I just don't reach for these anymore, but they are sleek. Makeup's actually quite good. And this is Snapshot 732. I don't know why I can't open anything. This one in the Lagoon is very nice, but I'm just trying to be realistic, and I know that I tried to reach for these. I actually put them in a Shot My Stash, and I still didn't reach for them. No lie, I'm doing way better than I thought I was going to. Reaching back here, I have my Wet n Wild Petal Pusher. I think I'm gonna let this go. I kept it because I thought I would reach for it because I do like the colors, but I don't. It's like you become detached. This is so weird. I do have a bunch of the Maybelline palettes here. So I have the Brights, the Smokes, and the Nudes. I reviewed these when I first started my blog 3 years ago, and I still don't really reach for them after that review. So Bye. So I'm going to hold on to the blush nudes. I do reach for this periodically, as well as the burgundy bar. This is fairly new and this is awesome. So if you see it in your drugstore and you are into makeup, like really into it, I think you should grab this. It was in my giveaway, among other things, which ended today. So thank you for everyone who participated. I will be also keeping all of my Milani, what are these called? Everyday Eyes. I have the purple one, the sunset one. There's 2 neutrals and then a metals. Those are all fabulous, so I'll be keeping those. I need to organize this better. This is just shambles, total shambles. I have 2 melt stacks. I have Dark Matter and I think the other one is called Lovesick. I can't actually remember. Let me see here. So these have the coolest packaging ever. I'm gonna move them somewhere else because being up here, I don't grab for them that often. But they're the coolest freaking packaging ever and I love it. So those will stay. These are 2 of the new Wet n Wild palettes. These are replacing the old like Comfort Zone and Puddle Pusher palettes, etc, etc. This is Rose in the Air and this is Not a Basic Peach. If you're interested in how these worked out, I did do a full face of Wet n Wild. I have CoverGirl True Naked Jewels and Roses. I will be decluttering these. I thought I was actually going to look at like the burgundy bar and the blush roses and then get rid of either one of the True Naked Roses or the blush roses, but now that I'm in here, I don't feel like it. I will be keeping my Sony Kashuk Ion Neutrals. I take this when I travel so that I have a standard matte palette and I don't really care if it gets smashed because it's drugstore. Essence All About Roses. I think I said in my collection video that I was going to try this out and see how I felt about it, and I haven't reached for it still, so it's going. Holy crap, guys. I can't even believe what the mascara I just did in here. This is the e.l.f. Matte for Matte, so I will be keeping this. I did a review on this. I really like this. I think it's a good dupe for that Sony Kashuk. This is fairly new as well from Beauty Big Bang. They sent this to me and I actually liked it. This is something I might take with me if I was traveling as well. Same kind of deal. If I lose it or it gets damaged, I won't be super upset about it. And then creeping in the back here is a Physicians Formula, like, I don't even know what to call these. It's not a palette in Smoky Nude. Like, these are not good. They're just powdery and a mess. So, bye. So this drawer is a bit of a mess. This is basically where I've been throwing things that are new, so I know that I won't be getting rid of anything from here, but I'll just quickly go through this. This is the e.l.f. Jewel Pop. I haven't had a chance to try it out too much yet, but this is fairly new. Becky Homeki sent that to me. The Mermaid Palette from Tarte. I got this in my VIB Rouge sale haul, which you've seen before. Chase the Sunset by Crate Finds. I'm so sorry they had to go out of business, so I actually bought a bunch of stuff from them, as well as the Dispitch palette. They have really high quality, really amazing stuff, and they were basically trying to do good things for women and caught so much shit about it at the end that they actually decided to shut down their business. So I tried to support them where possible. This is a Makeup Revolution Unicorn Love eyeshadow palette. I know this is not new to anyone else, but it's new to me. I just got this from Winners. I don't know why I cannot open anything today. There we go. Looks like this. Absolute New York Icon Mini. This came in the glossy box this month. Weekend Festival. I know you've all seen that if you've been here. I just posted a review on this palette. This is the Paradise Enchanted by L'Oreal. Gave this a 3.5, but I will be holding on to it. I'm really sorry. My lighting is like all over the place. Again, there must be something going on with either my camera or my light is going in and out. The Visart Petite Pro 3. I haven't had a chance to play with this yet because I'm currently testing this guy at the back here, the Urban Decay On the Run, which I do plan on posting a full review on very, very soon. I want to test it for one more week before I lay down my opinions because they are not all entirely positive or all entirely negative. And the Mad for Matte Sunset, I believe. This is not new, but it just kind of ended up in here because I was using it. The CoverGirl True Naked Dazed. This is another colored CoverGirl palette. I'm going to do a comparison between this one and the Jewel Pop soon. I have some photos taken. I just need to do it. That will be going up on my blog sometime in the next week or so. And oh my god, if you don't subscribe to BoxyCharm, you should, because you get things like this, and this thing is amazing. This is from Olimar Cosmetics, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong because I'm not Spanish, but this is so freaking beautiful, and oh my god, the stuff that BoxyCharm sends lately is worth life. Like, just look into it if you haven't already. Okay, this one I know is going to be really tough. And something I didn't actually mention that I should have is I will not be getting rid of anything that I got as like a true gift because I think that's rude. Oh man, this is gonna be like my toughest drawer, I think. This and the Kat Von D one. Okay, so this is the Lorac Pro palette. I'm not gonna get rid of this because clearly it is getting used a lot. The Lorac Pro 1 and 2, or sorry, 2 and 3, I honestly don't know. I'm gonna put both of these in a maybe pile and compare them to my Mega Pros because there are shades in here that I really like, but I'm not really reaching for them that much, and I fully know it. This is the Zoeva Blanc Fusion palette. It looks a lot and acts a lot like the Lorac Unzipped Gold, which is this guy here. My aunt grabbed this for me when I was in, it's actually not as close as I thought. My aunt grabbed the Lorac one for me when she was away in the States because they travel there all the time. Actually, it is pretty close. Just the canary color is kind of throwing me off. And I'm definitely keeping the Zoeva one, but I am going to put this one into a maybe pile. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Lorac Unzipped, I know this is really beautiful and a lot of people love it, but I just don't reach for it. So this is gonna go in the maybe pile as well. Maybe since I'm getting rid of my Naked 3, I'll do it. So I freaking love Anastasia. I want to say that she can do no wrong. I know, subculture, but guys, I liked it. So this is Maya Mia and this is Tamana. Another reason I'm going to struggle with some of this is because I know a lot of these were put into the Soft Glam. So if I was to look at these and say which one I probably used more, knowing that they're almost identical, and Sienna and Caramel and I believe Glisten and Deep Brown, which are in the Maya Mia palette, are all in other palettes. So I think I'm gonna let this go. Oh, that was painful. If I back out and pull any of my other ones out of my getting rid of pile, you can't judge me. You're not allowed to judge me. My Lavish palette was given to me as a gift, but I actually really love this. I use this all the time in the fall, so keeping that. Artist palette, I think this is gonna go into a maybe pile as well, because it isn't something I'm reaching for at all, to be honest with you, but there are so many beautiful shades in here and so many things I like about it. It's actually funny, when I watch declutters, all I can think about is, why are you making so many excuses? Like, it's your stuff. If you want to keep it, keep it. But now that I'm sitting here doing it, I totally get it. I get why you try and reason it out. This is the Shadow Couture, and I will be keeping this. This is one of the most beautiful things I own. I don't know why I'm so attached to it, but I just am. Self-Made, I'll be keeping this as well. Soft Glam, Subculture, and Modern Renaissance I will most definitely be keeping. Soft Glam actually dupes out, not dupes out, but has a lot of the colors in the other palettes I just decluttered. So there's an H-shadow crossover of things that already exist. Modern Renaissance, which is not nearly as used as every other YouTuber on this planet, and then Subculture, which is more used than almost every other YouTuber on this planet. So those will all be staying. I'm gonna have to ask you guys to settle down and wait your turn. So I had already discussed Naked 3 a couple times. I don't reach for this. I don't really like the payoff. It doesn't work for me. It's almost too light for my skin tone, and the way that it applies to my eyes just doesn't really work for me. So it's gonna go. Naked Heat I will be keeping. So I actually had dreams about whether I was gonna keep this or not because these shadows are so pigmented. They're so nice. I don't create a lot of smoky looks, but when I actually go in and swatch these, the swatches are amazing. Like, this palette gets so much shit, but I feel like it's just not a commonly used palette, so I'm going to put that in my maybe. Naked 2 will definitely be keeping this. I use this still. This was in my favorites recently. Same with Naked 1. I like to revisit old things because just because they are old doesn't mean that they're bad. Naked Basics 2 and Naked Basics 1, I will be keeping both of these. I do still use these periodically as well. I actually did a fair bit of damage on the Basics 1. There's a little bit of baby pan there. The Clinique Black Honey palette. Everybody was raving about this, so I found it at last year's Estee Lauder sale, and then I never actually really used it. I used to keep it in my gym bag, and I just never really liked how it worked out, so that's gonna go. Urban Decay Electric is definitely going to stay. Out of all of my colored palettes, this is probably the one I use the most, so that's staying. After Dark will definitely also be staying. I'm being way more decisive than I thought I was gonna be. My mom brought me this back home from the States, so I'll be keeping this. This is the Lorac Pro Matte Mini. And I will also be keeping this Kristen Leanne palette. I use this 12 out of 12 for blush sometimes. A subscriber made that comment to me to try that out, and it's actually awesome, and I really like it. So this is the Daydream eyeshadow palette. The two Basquiat palettes that I said originally I was not gonna buy, and then I was given one for a gift, and I purchased this one myself when it was on sale, so I will be keeping these. These are actually very, very nice, and honestly, I don't know why they didn't I think people were upset about the packaging, which I can actually understand because I wasn't that pleased with that either. But they're actually very good quality palettes and they are very nice, so I am going to keep them. I think this is also going to be another Get Real palette drawer. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Definitely a few maybes in here. So this is the Lorac Pro Brunch palette. My mother bought this for me, so I will be keeping. BoxyCharm and Pure collaboration. This reminds me a lot of the palettes that I have, so I actually think I might give this to my girlfriend who is commenting that she doesn't have a lot of makeup, and I think I'm gonna let my friends go through this, so I know it's gonna go to a happy home. This was a nice palette, but just it's too close to, like, say, the Jaclyn Hill palette for me. I don't need all of the same shades all of the time. I'll be keeping these. This is the Shadow palette from Smashbox, as well as the Transformers part of one of the Masterclass palettes that I depotted from its packaging. Kat Von D Ladybird, probably the nicest matte shadows that I own, so I'll be keeping this. It's old, don't care, keeping it, deal with it. Pastel Goth, Kat Von D, you know she's my best friend, so I'll be keeping that. I have feelings about this. Since I bought it, I have only reached for it once or twice, and if you're in the makeup community, you know why, because it didn't go that well. This is gonna have to go in my maybes though, because it is Kat Von D. I am a collector of her things, and however, the non-vax thing kind of upsets me. I don't know what to do. It's going in my maybe pile. BH Party Girl. I was also having dreams about this yesterday because I use this yellow all the time, but that's really the only reason I use this palette, so I think maybe I will declutter this. My declutter pile is getting much higher than I ever anticipated it would get. Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye. This is like a cult classic, and I actually think I might see if my sister-in-law wants this, because I don't reach for it. It's going in the maybe pile. Kat Von D Chrysalids, I will be keeping this because Kat Von D, being a dum-dum. I'm like getting emotions about this drawer. Emotions, I tell you. Actually, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. And the Kat Von D 10th Anniversary palette. I'm going to keep this because it is new and I really liked it. I really dig in all the top colors for sure. Well, this drawer went sideways quickly. The Jeffree Star Androgyny palette. This is actually the only palette I own from him. I like the shades but don't necessarily support him as a person, and I bought this before I knew all the nonsense that was going around about him, so I'm not going to feature it or anything, but I'm not gonna have wasted my money. Kat Von D Metal Matte. I will be keeping this for sure. I still reach for this fairly constantly. This is the Sigma Resort palette, and I know, like, when was the last time you saw something from Sigma? This has kind of like emotional attachment for me. This was what I used in all my engagement photos, so I'm going to be keeping this. I have 3 cargo palettes in the back here. Oh, Stila palette. This one is Let's Meet in Paris. I'm actually gonna let all of these go. There's nothing wrong with any of them, but I just don't reach for them anymore, and I'm trying not to have that type of collection where I just have things to have them. This one is Northern Lights. Probably not the best shades for me, even though I like to believe I can pull off anything. This one is one of Tati's favorites. It's the Vintage Escapes. And of all of them, I was reaching for this the most, so maybe this will go in the maybe pile. This is Stila Eyes Are the Window. I am definitely going to declutter this. I bought this from Winners being like, oh my god, there's no possible way this could be at Winners. I'm so excited. Oh wait, it's shit. That's why it's at Winners. Okay, I got it. This is a Japanesque, what is this called? Pixelated Color, I believe. Yes, Pixelated Color collection. This always ends up at the back of my collection, but it's actually very nice, so I'm going to keep it because I feel like decluttering what I have decluttered, I will be able to use it more. So this drawer, I'm fairly certain I will not be getting rid of very much in. This is all of my like super high-end stuff. So I have a Marc Jacobs The Vamp. I'm going to declutter this because I never ever reach for it. Like, I just don't, the shades don't stick to my eyeballs. This is 2 Natasha Denona 5 pans. These are from the holiday collection. I got these on sale recently. Have been using this one a ton. This one was overarched by the Urban Decay on the Run because they came in around the same time, and I wanted to do a review on the other one, so keeping both of these. This is the Marc Jacobs About Last Night palette. This was a holiday collection from, I believe, 2015. So I'll be keeping this. It's funny in some of the light, like, these palettes look like they're 10 of the same shade, but in real life, that's not the case. My Pat McGrath Labs La Vie en Rose Mothership palette. I will be keeping this because it is also fairly new. I cannot actually get over this gold. It's honestly like so gold and so pigmented that it's almost unworkable. I haven't done a review on this yet because I can't formulate my thoughts. I feel like for a regular person, these are hard to work with. Unless you actually, like, for somebody to just go in and buy this as their first palette, they may never touch makeup again. My Natasha Denona palette, I will be keeping this because God forbid I have wasted all that money. Getting into some babies here. This is the Petite Pro 2, and I actually broke this and dropped it. I was so upset. I was like almost in tears when I did it because the shimmers in this are crazy. I actually dropped that poor Visart palette off of here. So these are the Huda Beauty Obsessions, Mauve Obsessions, and Electric Obsessions. I'll be keeping these. I'm not in love with Huda Beauty in general. I feel like her stuff is a little bit overpriced for what they are. Like, these were $35 each, and they are clearly very small. Like, they're the same size as a MAC Quad. While we're on it, this is the Patrick Star collab from recently, from Miso Fleek. This is in Play With Me. I'll be keeping that. So all three of these I'll be keeping. My two Sugar Pill palettes in Burning Heart. Yes, Burning Heart and Heartbreaker. Sugar Pill was huge when I first started in YouTube in 2015, so I was so pumped to get these, and they're still beautiful. And like I said, with that other BH Party Girl palette, the yellow, this will do me just fine. Last two palettes in here. This is another Marc Jacobs palette. I cannot even remember what this was called, and I keep this. This is not brand new, but I keep this in here to keep the shape of the packaging because it sinks in too much if I don't. And I will be keeping this. This is good for work overnights when I have to do those. And the original Huda Beauty Textured Shadow Palette. I will be keeping this. This is not my absolute favorite thing in the world, but I am really annoyed that they remastered one and relaunched it. Like, if you are saying that the first one sucked so bad, you had to remaster it and relaunch it as a new idea, then no, I'm not down with that. I don't like those kind of business practices because you are basically playing on your following. So I will be keeping this as to not have wasted my money on it because it does work, but I don't really like to support Huda after that bullshit. And my Flash palette back here I will be keeping because I use this for Halloween, even though my lid on it has not been on it properly. So I use this a lot for Halloween, so I'll keep that. Okay, this is gonna be another tough one. I apologize to anybody who I've ever commented on your declutter and be like, don't apologize to people for not getting rid of your stuff. Like, it's actually very much about getting real with yourself. This is the TARDIS Pro, and this is going to go into the maybe pile. It is beautiful. I do love it, but I just know I don't reach for it. And there are people in my life who I think of that may actually reach for it. The collector in me says don't get rid of this. It was one of the first circular palettes that Tarte ever did. I think it might have actually been the first. If you would like to correct me if I'm wrong, feel free. But it's so beautiful, even though I don't really love it that much. I think I'm going to keep it for collector purposes. I will be keeping this one as well. This is actually my second one of these because I dropped and smashed the first one. Can't remember the name. Make Believe in Yourself. Right. I'll be keeping this one. So it looks like I haven't used it because I had used my other one like crazy and knocked it off the top of my tower and it shattered into a million pieces. Tears were shed. This came in BoxyCharm. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. Not something that I would have bought, so I'm going to probably give this away to my friend. Moving into my Too Faced 9-pan palettes. This is the Cat Eyes palette. I don't reach for this, so I'm going to declutter it. Then we have the Bonjour Summer, which looks like this. I'm going to keep this one. This will probably end up in a declutter in a year or two, because I'm going to try and keep this a little bit more curated, but for now, it stays. The Too Faced Totally Cute will be staying. I finally got my hands on peanut butter and jelly thanks to my loving mother, so this one will be staying as well. The Honey palette, I know a lot of people didn't like this, but I actually did, so I'm gonna keep that. And then the Sugar Pop palette I will be keeping as well. I'm not gonna do as well with this drawer as I thought I was going to, I don't think. So Too Faced Pretty Rebel, this also has some emotional and sentimental value to me. This is what I used during my wedding a lot as well. So I use this for my bridal shower as well as my bachelorette, but it has been ripped and I know I don't reach for it anymore. And I feel like I have many of these shadows in other palettes, so maybe I should let it go. That hurt my heart. The Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons, I think I'm gonna let this go as well. I do have 3 of the chocolate bars, and it's not that I don't like this one, I just don't reach for it because it's almost too many browns. However, I think Totally Fetch, I'm gonna have to double check. If Totally Fetch isn't in another palette now that I've given away Pretty Rebel, I will keep this, so I'm gonna throw this in maybe. This was actually my first thing I was sent in PR as well, I think. And do I break up the collection? This is my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I'll be keeping this. This is honestly one of the first that was ever out, which is why the names are written on it in Sharpie, because I couldn't get it to get the thing to stay in it, the little sheet. And it's the one that is thicker, so this is old, but it's staying. Too Faced Sweet Peach, I still reach for this pretty frequently, so I'll be keeping this. Too Faced Chocolate Gold, this is newer. I will be keeping this as well. This is a beautiful palette. I'm surprised it got such a... It didn't get like a bad rap, but it didn't get much of a following, and it's actually very nice, so I'm kind of surprised. It's probably because there's so many shimmers, and people always like to do that. There's not enough mattes thing. Too Faced Semi-Sweet, I'll be keeping this as well, because between all of the chocolate bars, I probably reach for this one the most. And then my Clover palette, which I will be definitely keeping because it is so freaking cute and I love dogs. I'm a crazy dog lady and I really like this one. Just Peachy Mattes. I bought this and thought I would be obsessed with it, and then I hardly ever used it. I bought it right around the time I was moving and I didn't get time to spend time with it, so I'm gonna pull this out and make sure I start to use it because it is very nice. Graveyard Girls Swamp Queen. I know Bunny's going through some shit right now, and I have never really liked her that much. She's really not my style of person, but I really liked her palette, so I'll be keeping this. It's probably one of my more heavily abused palettes for sure. I'm trying really hard not to blind you, and I can't not. This is the Nikkie Tutorials Power of Makeup. There was so much controversy about this. I feel like this is a part of makeup history, if I'm being totally honest. I think I might declutter it because I just don't reach for it, and I have other palettes that are very, very similar. Let me put this aside for now. In the back here, I have the old Chateau palettes, so they all look like this, and I think I'm gonna do the same thing with this, maybe depot some of these shadows, and I'll do the same thing with the Nikkie Tutorials one, because some of the shadows are freaking beautiful. I just don't reach for them because the way they are laid out. But then I get this thing where when I do the declutter, I don't then reach for the Z palette. The Tartelette palette I will be keeping, as well as Tartelette in Bloom. If I'm keeping these, do I really need this? My brain needs to just come to terms with this. How close are these? The second row of Tartist Pro is pretty close to the second row in this. This also has some similar shades. However, Tartist Pro still has some more like colors. Ugh, I'm still undecided. My little Too Faced chocolate bar, I'm probably going to declutter this. My little Givenchy drawers, I will be keeping these. I thought this was the cutest thing ever. It's really cute for travel. It gives you like a blush and a few shadows and a face powder in it. So it's just kind of one of those little cute things that lets you toss it in your purse when you need it. It's also good for my gym bag. This is this year's holiday collection, so I know I'll be keeping this. So maybe this is what actually lets me get rid of the Tartist. I'm not gonna get rid of it. I think I'm gonna give it to my sister-in-law. She'll probably like it. Yeah, definitely keeping this. This is a Stila palette from a few holiday seasons ago. I'll be keeping this as well. I don't reach for it in the summer, but I really reach for it in the winter. I'm not sure why this has become seasonal for me, but it's one of my only Stila products and I do like it, so it's staying. This is the Too Faced Best Year Ever. This was one of my favorite palettes from them that I feel like kind of got swept under the rug as well because people are not impressed with Too Faced these days. But this was excellent and I'll be keeping this for sure. I was thinking last night, knowing I was going to do this today, that I would be getting rid of one or the other of these. This one is Too Faced Everything Nice, and then there was a few of my favorite things. I just feel like they are so similar. So if you're looking at them, they are basically the same. But this one has Totally Fetch in it. I don't know what to do. I also feel like the face products are a little different, other than the Chocolate Soleil is the same. Okay, I need to like put both of these in my maybe pile because I need to look at them a little bit more thoroughly. This shouldn't be this stressful, let's be serious. It's just eyeshadow. If I want to keep it, I should just keep it. Right, these are going to maybe. So I somehow managed to pack so much shit in here, it's actually outrageous. So let's start here. This is from BoxyCharm as well. It's the Winky Luxe Kitten palette. I think I'm gonna hold on to this until at least my next declutter, and if I'm not reaching for it by then, I will probably declutter it because I don't have a lot of shades that are exactly like this. I feel the same way about the Glam Metals from Crown, which also came from BoxyCharm. This reminds me a lot of the Shady Lady palettes from The Balm, which I actually decluttered and then felt like after not using them forever and decluttering them that I missed them, so I will hold on to both of these. Moving through here, these are the two Studio On The Go palettes. These are heavily unused by me because they are shades that I have in other palettes and they are very beautiful and very pigmented, but I just don't reach for them, and I'm going to probably declutter them to one of my friends or sell them. I will be keeping all three of my Makeup Forever palettes. I have the Artist Shadows in 2, 3, and 4. I do reach for these periodically, and I actually really love the matte ones. This is like my Easter palette, and then this is the matte ones I was talking about. I see one hiding in here that I missed. This is the Urban Decay Ammo palette, and I think I'm going to get rid of it. Most of these I'll be keeping. These are my ColourPop palettes. This is the Semi Precious. I'll be keeping that. Dream Street I will definitely be keeping. That's actually one of my favorite palettes in the world. Give It To Me Straight. I haven't even used this yet, so I need to pull that out. And then this is the My Little Pony, which I will definitely also be keeping. Kaleidoscope palette from Kristen Leanne. This was also one of my favorites when I first came back to YouTube. It is freaking awesome. I love all these things that I said I would never buy, and then when I buy them, they always blow my mind. I'll be keeping this as well. The Saharan by Juvians. These are all fairly new. I would like to spend some more time with them. The Nubian. BH Hollywood. I know in my collection video I had talked about how I used to use this all the time, and I really love the blush colors. And then it had been broken and my sister-in-law replaced it for me. So I think I'm gonna keep this because I really like the blush shades. I'm just gonna put it somewhere else so it doesn't get lost in this drawer. This is like a classic, but I'm gonna get rid of it. This is the Urban Decay Dangerous palette. I used to use this green like it was my job. It's almost to pan, and it's bright green. So like, who pans a bright green shadow? So here is where I'm at with this. So this is the Smoked by Urban Decay, and this is like the same as the Smoky palette. I'm not sure why I've continuously kept this because I never reach for it, but it's because it is freaking beautiful. So I think I need to make a decision between this one and the Smoky, or just heed my own advice, and if I feel like keeping them both, keep them both. This is going in the maybe pile. Urban Decay and Gwen Stefani. I'm going to declutter this to someone who will use it more than me. This is just so many neutrals in my opinion. I don't have a use for this many neutrals because I don't wear neutrals that often. Urban Decay Original Spectrum. I think I'm going to keep this because I'm going to declutter the Full Spectrum palette. This one was inspired me to purchase by No Bland Makeup and Kirsten. If anybody knows her, you can check out her channel, which I will list below. She does a lot of body paint and cool ass makeup. I don't reach for it a lot, but I think this is the same fate as the BH Hollywood. I only don't reach for it because it's not in the right drawer. I have the Venus 1 and Venus 2, both of which are fairly new, so I will be holding on to these. I think in my next declutter, it will be a choice between Venus 1 and Modern Renaissance on which one I decide to keep. I have 2 of the Cameo palettes from MAC. I'm really torn about these. I think I may try and declutter some of the stuff in here, or sorry, depot some of the stuff in here for both of them. The packaging is beautiful, but I never reach for them because they are not cohesive palettes. Actually, I'm gonna just declutter them. I'm not even gonna try and pull these 4 Juvia's Place palettes out because I know that I'm keeping them, so like, let's just be cool with it. Okay, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, and this one I know I'm going to get rid of. This is the Balm Voyage. I bought this and literally never ever used it. It's got the lip products and cheap products at the bottom. I keep buying the balm, or I was buying the balm for a long time, and then one day it just came to me that I keep buying it because I like the packaging. I don't actually like the formula that much. UD Full Spectrum, I was really disappointed in this. I bought it and sat on it for a while to review, and then I was going to return it because I knew I didn't like it. Then I didn't do the review, totally forgot about it because we sold our house, and now I'm going to declutter it to someone. I don't know if it's just me, but it really doesn't work for me. I'm going to be keeping this guy. Apologies for the mirror. But this one, like, warms my heart, so I'll be keeping this. This is probably the only balm palette that I was reaching for constantly. It's the Balm Jovi palette, so I think I may actually hold on to this, even though I had decided I was going to get rid of all my balm stuff. Meet Matte Nudes, I'm going to get rid of this. I just never reach for it, and I know that it's an easy one for another person to love, so it's going to go. On 60s, I kind of feel the same way. I have lots of colored shades in other palettes, so I'm going to let this one go as well. Lorac Mega Pro 4 I'll definitely be keeping. This is actually a favorite of mine. I was the first Pro palette I bought since the first one because the 2 and 3 didn't really do anything for me. And this is Mega Pro 1. So this is what I need to compare in my reviewing of the maybes. Jolie Beauty Balm.com palette. Obviously I'll be keeping this because, like, look at it. I did a full review and wear test with this. And I will link that down below if you're interested. Galaxy Chic. This like makes my brain hurt. I really love this palette, but I just don't reach for it. It must be a matter of where I keep it in the drawers, so I'm going to keep it and move it somewhere else. Take Me to Brazil. I need a backup for colors, so I think I'm going to keep this as the backup. Reaching back here, everybody had these in their collection at one point or the other. This is the BH Cosmetics 120 color palette in the 4th edition. I'm going to declutter this. There is a second shelf in here, but I'm not going to pull it all out. Kat Von D Saints and Sinners. This is staying in my collection. I'm going to put it back up on my desk. And I don't actually even know how it got down here. Violet Boss Holy Grail. This is going to go... am I going to keep this? No, I don't think I am. And the Drenched Metals. I bought these both after they like exploded on Instagram, and then like they're good, but I just don't reach for them and I don't know why. Maybe I will leave them on my dresser. These are gonna stay actually. Kat Von D Star-Studded palette. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to keep the, I never remember Spellbinding. Oh God. I'm going to keep Spellbinding as well because I use these a lot to compare her new palettes to when I buy them to see if there's any replication in shades. I have all 3 Sephora Pro palettes. This is the warm one. I will be keeping the cool, editorial, and the cool one as well. The cool one is very close to the Natasha Denona palette that I have, in my opinion, so I will probably see how this fares for the next year or so. And when I do another declutter, it'll be one of the 2, I think. A couple of Z palettes at the back here. I'm going to go through my single shadows in a different video and probably curate those a little bit better because like I know that I don't use these NYX ones, so I'll throw those away. But these Makeup Forever ones down here are definitely good stuff. And last but not least in this drawer, we have the Smashbox Masterclass from many moons ago, and I will hold on to this because I almost always take this with me when I go on long vacations. Okay, we have returned to the maybe pile, and I think this is going to stress me out the most. So let's go through the smoked and the smoky palette. See, this is when I like look at this stuff and I think, you know what, they're actually not that similar. I think this is going to have the fate as well, where if I don't use it in like a year or so, I'm going to declutter it in another declutter. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write down every name of every palette that I own, and I'm going to keep a tally through the year. It's something I'm going to keep on my desk. And if I don't have a tick on that in 365 days, whether that's using it on my eyes or using it in a video or a comparison, I am going to declutter it. So what is this one called again? Vintage Escapes. Do I keep it? Do I keep Vintage Escapes? No, I don't think I do. I'm gonna get rid of it. Okay, let me look at everything nice and a few of my favorite things. Okay, everything nice and a few of my favorite things. I think I'm having such a hard time with these because they are different enough in like these shades here and these shades here and the face stuff that it's like making it hard for me to decide. And I feel like if I can't decide, I should keep them because I'll regret it. I also use these almost exclusively in the winter because they are like winter type palettes and holiday type palettes. And that's kind of where my brain is stuck, so maybe I will do another declutter sometime in the winter. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep both of these and I'm going to move on from the Power of Makeup and the other 3. So this is gonna go. That's what I'm gonna do. So these 3 are gonna go. What I think I'm gonna do with the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons is if my sister-in-law does not want it, I will keep it, sorry. If she wants it, then I will let it go. Tarteist Pro, I think I'm gonna do the same with my sister-in-law. If she doesn't want it, I will hold on to it. Shade and Light Eye, I think I'm gonna keep. As soon as I put it up in the maybe pile, I'm like, why did you do that? So that's gonna stay. Serpentina, I'm gonna do the same thing, I think, where if I don't use it in a year or I don't compare it to anything in a year, because I do use this for comparison with her new palettes as well, I will declutter this, but for now, it's gonna stay. I'm going by like knee-jerk reaction with the rest of these. So the Artist palette, I think I'm gonna let go because I do know that I have these shades in other palettes and you know what? I'm just not reaching for it, so what is the point? Oh, that was ruthless. Unzipped, I think I'm gonna keep this one because I feel like it and that was my knee-jerk reaction. The gold, I'm going to let go because the Zoeva palette is almost identical and I just feel like I really don't reach for this. but unleashed. This one has another 365 days and then it's over. My Lorac Pro 2 and Lorac Pro 3, so I need to do another comparison against the 4 and Mega Pro 4 and Mega Pro 1. Okay, so this is Mega Pro 1 and this is Mega Pro 4. This is their Pro palette number 3, and this is actually quite a bit different from both of them, so I guess this one stays after all. Except for you, Medallion. You should go to hell, because you are the worst shadow in the world. And then Mega Pro 2. Do I feel like you jump out at me with any of these other shades? What do we think? What do we... Same, I feel like maybe I'll keep all these too. Oh well, okay. This is just where we're at. We're keeping all of them. All right, so I actually did considerably better than I thought I was going to, and I got rid of 47 palettes. This is everything I got rid of. Not this here, but all of these here and these 3 stacks. Hopefully these can go to a good home, and some of them will be going into the garbage, like the Emo palette. That was a little sketchy. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long one. Hope you got a snack while we were doing it. And I feel slightly cleansed and a little bit stressed out, and holy crap, I actually missed 3, so I said I got rid of 47. We actually got rid of 48, 49, 50. 50 palettes exactly is how much we got rid of. I am pretty jacked about myself right now. Can't wait for the next one.